Welcome to Pudding Cup number 5. Amid a sea of terrible towels and under the roar of the Skull chant, there was a fantasy football title game to be played. The road was a long one. It took 192 draft picks, 156 regular season games, 12 owners, 8 playoff contenders, and we're down to the 2 championship teams. Kamala Bird, playing as Lady Lagsire, would face Ethan Taylor, playing as Welcome to Earths. It was the first title game appearance for these 2 franchises. Lady Lagsire was one of the favorites last season, before her roster was decimated by injuries. She was not to be denied this year. Welcome to Earths was a founding member of the league 5 years ago. He finally made some postseason noise, ending up here in the title game. The day has arrived. The rosters have been set. Who will have their name engraved on the Pudding Cup trophy? Who would get their jersey of choice? Who would we have to avoid for the next 365 days? We kick off Pudding Cup number 5. On comes Jameis Winston leading Lady Lagsire. And don't try to adjust your set, folks. That graphic you see there is right. I double-checked. The second best offense in the NFL belonged to the Buccaneers? Really? But then I see how that could be the case. For one thing, the NFL doesn't dock you points for an interception like we do here in fantasy. That would help alleviating some of these deceptive stats. He just stares down his receiver, never looks the defensive back off, and you can't do that. That's what separates the good from the best and the best from the greats. And for the first time in Pudding Cup history, a negative score is on the board. Welcome to Earth hits the field with Drew Breesy. And just when Drew Brees thought he had seen it all, he walks into a game where his team has 0 points, and that constitutes a lead. If that trend continues, it's gonna be over before it even starts. But the Titans' defense, luckily, stymies Drew Breesy, and at least for the first possession, holds him in check. Ertz has that 2-pronged attack of the Green Bay Packers. Davante Adams, that was his keeper from last year, did him a solid, finished as the number 3 wide receiver in all of fantasy football. And Aaron Jones, the real Aaron, if you ask me. He had a breakout year, over 1,000 yards rushing and over 500 yards receiving. But in the Pudding Cup, he puts it on the ground. There's a mad scramble for the ball. The defense will finally come away with it. And if there's a silver lining here, it's the hustle he shows, coming from behind to make the tackle. Though we don't give defensive points for offensive players, not even in IDP. And it's in the middle of him switching from his right to his left hand. That's what you're taught to do, but ironically, that was the cause of the fumble. And Aaron letting everybody know that that was his bad. Lady Lagsire starts getting the ground game going with Tariq Cohen, the little man, dragging a pile of players with him. And Ezekiel Elliott, Zeke the Freak, we know what he could do with a pile of players. Robert Woods, that was her answer for Davante Adams. And it was a treat watching these guys go at it mano-a-mano. But at least for the first quarter, Robert Woods outplays Davante Adams, scoring 6.1 points. Lady Lagsire, she continues with Jameis Winston. And Winston continues to pull the trigger. And Houston continues with business as usual. Jameis Winston's second drive is also an interception. We'll take a look at it from his point of view. I'm not sure what he sees, but what he doesn't see for sure is that defender standing right in front of him. I'm telling you, these fantasy matrices give a clearer picture of what a true player and offense are like. Jameis Winston, everybody. Welcome to Earth has a couple of players that were teammates in last year's Pudding Cup. T.Y. Hilton, he was instrumental in that win last year. Also, Mighty Joe Mixon, he was a little quiet last year. He's looking to change that up for this Pudding Cup, or not. On this series, controversy would rear its ugly head. The face of the franchise getting headhunted. He's waiting for a flag. And Coach Payton, he's looking around waiting for a flag. No flag comes. Coach Payton can't believe that they didn't call it, or at least see it. And I believe the verbiage is clear and obvious, and that looks pretty clear and obvious to me. Sean Payton, fuming, and rightfully so. Roger Goodell, another long offseason with plenty of visits from Sean Payton. Then to add injury to insult, the face of the franchise on this play would have to leave the game with a fractured rib and a lacerated kidney. Ouch. Final moments of the first quarter, and Jameis Winston begins to look less like Jameis Winston and more like Tom Brady. He finds Perryman for 29 yards there. He'll hit O.J. Howard, another 13 yards. Shifty in the pocket, hits Ogunbowale. That's his real name. That's a catch of run of 19 yards. And when they got the look they want, one-on-one on the outside, oh, Winston! He misses a wide-open Watson. There's only two ways you get that wide open in the NFL. It's either a blown coverage or a double move. And it was a double move. Winston wishing he can have that one back. And on the very next play he does, this time he overthrows Perryman. Oh, Jameis Winston. Two golden opportunity and he misfires. They'll settle for the Matt Prater field goal, but missing wide open receivers. First pass attempt gets picked off. It's been a nightmare quarter for Jameis Winston. We start the second quarter with this unbelievable series from the Cincinnati Bengals. They've been riding Joe Mixon on this drive all the way downfield. They'll ride him all the way inside the 5. He would get 5 straight carries, 3 of those from inside the 5, and would not be able to punch it in. For all those Monday morning quarterbacks, they're going to be wondering why there wasn't a pass in there somewhere. But that's just life in the NFL. Ask Pete Carroll, he'll tell you. You're damned if you do and you're damned if you don't. Back to the most exciting figure in sports entertainment today. Winston will hit Perryman for 29 yards. The ref calls it a catch, but Ertz would challenge. Control, but the right foot on the line. And the refs will overturn that. And it's an incomplete pass. But when you give Winston a second chance, he'll kill you. Oh, that looks like simultaneous possession. The refs would come in and award it to the defense. Winston has his 3rd interception of the game. The Green Bay Packers and the Packer faithful were happy to get away from Mike McCarthy. Davante Adams on a little 5-yard out. Got away from that stale play calling, brought in the new coach and new offense. Davante Adams on a little 5-yard out. Rodgers saying he felt rejuvenated with the new spirit. Davante Adams on a little 5-yard out. Oh, but he can't hold on to that one. You can't put this one on Davante Adams. Aaron Rodgers throws it behind him severely. I know he got 2 hands on it, but you got to give him some help. And if we're going to be fair, we got to start talking about the cliff Aaron Rodgers Productions has fallen off of, and how at his age he just can't do it like he used to. Unless, of course, that's only reserved for certain specific situations. With Ezekiel Elliott struggling and Tariq Cohen nowhere to be found, Lady Lagsire starts getting creative with the running game, using Robert Woods, so versatile. He's used enough in that type of role that you have to respect him, almost like a second running back in there. He'll finish with 3 points in this second quarter. Allen Robinson, he would get his first catch of the game, albeit by accident. 9 yards on that reception. And then Lady Lagsire goes to George Kittle. He's made it sexy to be a tight end again. Tight ends weren't really popular when I was growing up, but it seems like everybody wants to be a Kittle now. Kittle 4.9 points in the second quarter. Ertz, he turns to his ground game. James White, the poor man's Christian McCaffrey, he'd have 3.6 points for the quarter. And Aaron Jones, the real Aaron if you ask me, he keeps gashing the Minnesota Viking defense. And with the run game going, that opens up the play action. Brissett looking for T.Y. Hilton, but he can't connect. T.Y., he set the record for the longest reception in last year's Pudding Cup. 55 yards, but no can do here. Robert Woods, he began doing it on the ground, and Adams begins to put it on the ground. There seems to be a little confusion. They don't know if it's an incomplete pass or if they're ruling it a catch and a fumble. The refs will wisely rule it as a catch and fumble. That way we could check the replay. And we need possession there. 1 foot, 2 foot, and a football move. That is considered a catch and fumble. But regardless, Davante Adams a whopping 11.2 points in the second quarter alone. The most exciting figure in sports entertainment today. He's got his 4th interception of the... the ref comes in. They're going to say it hit the ground. And when you give Winston a 3rd chance, he'll kill somebody. He finds Watson, 13 yards. He'll hit Brashad Perryman, a favorite target of his in this game, another 13 yards. And when Winston starts to roll, he rolls right and throws back across the field and finds McElroy at the 4-yard line. Winston has the most routine of routes intercepted, but then breaks every rule in the quarterback playbook and completes it 32 yards. That would be the first catch for McElroy in the NFL, and he does it in style here in Pudding Cup 5. That's a game ball, one he'll never forget. And Drew Brees sees something in the defense he doesn't like. He switches it and hits Jared Cook, who makes one man miss, gets a key block from Kamara. Here comes Ted Ginn to mess it up with a block in the back, but doesn't get there in time. Jared Cook from Drew Brees, 61 yards. And with the points at a premium, E.T. still seated Brewer has something to cheer about. But Jared Cook makes one man miss and then does it the rest of the way. He now holds the record for the longest receiving touchdown, 61 yards. Brees, 61-yard touchdown pass. That is also a Pudding Cup record. That is one way to get off the schneid. But Ertz left too much time on the clock for Winston. Under a minute to go, Winston has to scramble 2 yards, but that's all right. No chance of intercepting a 2-yard scramble. Winston looking and finds Watson, 9 yards. Winston taking a shot deep. And he outdoes himself from the first quarter, overthrowing Brashad Perryman and Watson both at the same time with one ball. But the yin and yang of Jameis Winston, he finds Hyman at the 8-yard line. 32-yard play, 28 seconds, 1st and goal. The most exciting figure in sports entertainment today. 2nd and goal. It's a 50-50 ball for Brate, but he can't hold on to it. 3rd and goal, 20 seconds left. Winston is flushed out of the pocket, throws into a crowd. Okay, that is a Buccaneer that caught it. Touchdown, Jameis Winston. What an answer by Jameis. And some kudos to Watson for holding on to that one. Winston, an answer to Drew Brees' touchdown. The watch party at Iceberg's Frozen Cellar knows how big that is. And that's the way we go to the half. Fireworks by Brees and Winston. This is shaping up to be a classic. The third quarter begins with Lady Lagsire serving up a steady diet of Ezekiel Elliott, Zeke the Freak. She was lucky to have survived that first quarter and 3 Jameis Winston interceptions and still have the game nice and close. So with Zeke, she's going to control the clock, control the game, and control the Winston pass attempts. And why not? You got the Titans and the 49ers winning playoffs games like that. Why not Lady Lagsire? Zeke, he would have his best quarter of the game with 6.6 points. Welcome to Ertz. Ertz's running game has been virtually non-existent. Mighty Joe Mixon, who's about to lose that moniker, and James White continue to shrink back when the lights are at their brightest. But one major difference between Ertz and Lady Lagsire is that Ertz can fall back on Drew Breezy. Breeze hitting Michael Thomas 22 yards. Breeze all day to scan the field and hit Taysom Hill. He takes it down at about the 16-yard line. And on the ensuing play, Drew Brees finds Old Faithful Jared Cook. A 16-yard touchdown pass from Brees to Jared Cook. And look at the window Brees had to fit that in. Triple coverage. And a shout out to Jared Cook as well. He had a ball and hands all up in his face, but was able to come down with it. Drew Brees, second touchdown of the game. He's gotten in a groove. And how about Jameis Winston on this play? Embracing his role as a game manager and breaking ankles. If he can't do it with his arms, he does it with his legs. And then the deep Reed. If there was a concussion protocol for ankles, Reed, he'd be in the blue tent right now. Jameis Winston, a 13-yard scramble. Back to the Green Bay Packers. Matt LaFleur, he turned that offense around seemingly overnight. Devontae Adams on a little 5-yard out. You want to say Aaron was at the center of it. A good running game, it helps out the passing game, because if you have an old quarterback that flounders, an effective running game can cover a lot of warts that the offense would otherwise show, as Aaron demonstrates on this drive. In his first Pudding Cup appearance, Aaron Jones gets a touchdown, so somebody go grab that ball. E.T. Still City Brewery, feeling good. Welcome to Ertz. They start to put some distance between them and Lady Lagsire. Lady Lagsire showing a little urgency with Ertz's third straight touchdown. That's Robert Woods for 12 yards. Robert Woods on a deep cross, he's got 23 yards. And how good is Robert Woods on this one? Robert Woods, 22 yards. And forget the outcome, look at the process. He slips down, has the presence of mind to get back up, locate the ball, and grab another 5 yards. Oh, Robert Woods, money. And then Courtland Sutton, he's on Lady Lagsire. That's a 13-yard reception. Broncos inside the 10, second and goal. They go for Sutton, but Darius Slay, he knocks it away. Next play, other side, same player, same route. Same defender, same outcome. Darius Slay frustrating Courtland Sutton. Allen Robinson, he's actually the target on this one. That's a 7-yard catch. Robinson on second and goal, little comeback route. They can't get it to him. Fourth and goal, 50-50 ball. Nothing doing. Lady Lagsire with Ertz pulling away, needs somebody to make a play, and she gets it. It's a blocked field goal. He's already got 2 points for the blocked field goal. If this goes back all the way, it'll be the highest point total on one play. But he's finally dragged down at the 15. The Seattle Seahawks special teams. They serve up the Cody Parker special triple doink. And even though the return didn't get into the end zone, they did get the blood going again. Breathing life into an otherwise lifeless Lady Lagsire. Look at old man Pete Carroll. Everybody getting jived. And we go with the fourth quarter. Lady Lagsire, she has got one more quarter left in her. We go to the fourth quarter, and the fourth quarter begins with NFL history being made. On this reception, Brees hits Michael Thomas, who will fight and claw his way to the end zone for the touchdown. But with that reception, Michael Thomas would pass the great Marvin Harrison for most receptions in one season. He's got 144 and counting. But the refs are taking a long look at this one. They are going to rule that he was down inside the 1 before the ball crossed the plane. So Michael Thomas will keep the reception, but it's Brees who loses the touchdown. They promptly give it to Murray, and the Titans defense holds. And on the very next play, in a moment of deja vu, Drew Brees would get that touchdown back with that half-yard score to Michael Thomas. The watch party at E.T. Still City Brewery, they know how close they are. Lady Lagsire has to all but abandon the run game. Robert Woods, he has been there all season and all game and continues to be there here in the fourth quarter. And also Ezekiel Elliott. If you notice the strategy here, she's using Zeke more so out of the backfield than on the ground, and that's PPR. You get an extra point for every reception regardless of who catches it, maximizing all of her possessions. Lady Lagsire, showing why she's here in the big game. Oh, and then Ertz begins to sputter. Drew Brees, even though he lands in the end zone, first contact was marked at the 1-yard line. They count that as forward progress. Aaron Jones running into the modern day Purple People Eaters. Davante Adams, he actually loses a few fractions of a point on this minus 2-yard reception. They'll settle for the Justin Tucker field goal, but Lady Lagsire can count that one as a win. Lady Lagsire, it's all hands on deck. And again, she's using the PPR rules to her advantage, hitting the running back out of the backfield. That's maximizing a point for every play. And Allen Robinson, he'll come down with the reception in 5 yards as they continue to methodically chip away at the lead. Welcome to Ertz. The wheels are falling off the wagon. Brees, erratic, missing Jared Cook. Aaron Jones continues to be stuffed at the line. Mighty Joe Mixon being Mighty Joe Mixon. He's going to lose that mighty moniker, that's for sure. Winston, who's been protecting the ball in the second half, taking what the defense gives him, dinks it off to Ronald Jones. Couple plays later, again, avoiding the big mistake, drops it off to Ronald Jones, but all that yak, yards after catch, those are piling up for Winston. Then Winston looking for Perryman. He's scooping it up off the ground. And then Winston, who has been overthrowing people all day, finally makes the adjustment, but it falls a little short of O.J. Howard. Winston's living to fight for another day. And in key moments, you think players, not plays. George Kittle, rumbling and stumbling, 36 yards, 3rd and goal. Garoppolo has to roll. Oh, shades of Montana to Clark. It's Garoppolo to Kittle. Not quite the same ring, but he's got the same result. Touchdown, Lady Lagsire. She's pulled within 1 score of welcome to Ertz. The replay and formality confirm the call. Lady Lagsire and the Lady Lagsire faithful coming apart at the seams. Welcome to Ertz. The game's slipping away when onto the field comes the face of the franchise. Fractured rib, lacerated kidney and all. And thus the cry to remember the Cam is born. It's the title game. You play with reckless abandon, with total disregard to self and safety, because you know this might be the only opportunity you'll have to seize the moment. And when Joe Mixon gets double-digit rushing yards, you know something special has happened. Then Davante Adams winning the physical battle, 24 huge yards for Adams. Then what would be the seminal play of the game, Aaron Jones does this. A 56-yard rushing touchdown. That's a Pudding Cup record for the longest rush and also the longest rushing touchdown. Look at Kumaro. He had a touchdown in last year's Pudding Cup, so he knows how special that is. Welcome to Ertz, stunning Lady Lagsire and the Lady Lagsire faithful. The watch party at E.T. Still City Brewery can almost taste it. Aaron Jones, following the blocking lineman, bounces it to the outside. He pulls away and does a little prime time. You know, Dion's going to be giving him a shout out. Lady Lagsire, wondering what just happened. Oh, but there's only been 58 minutes of a 60-minute game that's been played. Winston would find Brashad Perryman and takes a vicious helmet-to-helmet hit. Winston looking around for a flag. Bruce Arians baffled that no flag has been thrown. Perryman would have to leave the game in the concussion protocol. Is this a non-call to make up the non-call in the first quarter? Bruce Arians making the case that two wrongs don't make a right, but it falls on deaf ears. 2 plays later, guess who's back to make the circus catch and keep the drive going? Remember the cam? Brashad Perryman. You gotta get it from a different angle and slow it down to appreciate the body control, the awareness to get the 2 feet down, the athleticism to bring it all together. Oh, Perryman, money. Winston to the line looking for Ogunbowale, and oh, there it is. Winston's 4th interception of the game. And it's surreal. Just like that, the season is over. Winston ending the game the exact same way he began it. Staring the receiver down, never looking the defender off. Jameis, the epitome of those who don't learn from history are doomed to repeat it. For welcome to Ertz, all that's left are the formalities. Aaron Jones would be the MVP of Pudding Cup number 5. And with that, welcome to Ertz, led by Ethan Taylor, are the Pudding Cup 5 champions. In week 3, we lost our dear sister Kamala Berg. We closed the 2019 season with a few moments of silence.